48 hours from now, hopefully we'll have some happy Bills fans. I am not going to get more specific because I do not want to be accused of jinxing anything, but you do know that kickoff is at 1 o'clock this Sunday as the Bills try to return to the playoffs for the fourth time in 5 years. And Josh Allen tries to capitalize on all that MVP buzz that's been building in the offseason. So let's talk about it with two on your side contributor Vic Carucci as we count down to Sunday, Vic. And I mentioned those expectations, not just for Josh Allen, but for the whole team. It's kind of a different start than in recent years with this team. How do you think they're going to handle that?
I think that's a good question. Of course, they're pros, and this is part of what they're supposed to be able to do. Besides, run and catch and block and tackle, they're supposed to handle pressure. That's part of what you're paid a lot of money to do. But still, this is a new setup for this team in terms of what we saw last year and what we've seen for a long time for them. To be in front of a packed house, opening day, and the expectations we all know are through the roof, the excitement. And even the experienced pros, the folks who took the field last night for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, celebrating a Super Bowl championship, coming in as defending champs, home crowd, home opener, big time, primetime TV. 11 penalties, 4 turnovers. They still won the game, but they played like a team that, was not only rusty, but maybe feeling a little bit of that pressure.
And there's been a lot of talk this week about the impact Josh Allen's legs can have on this opener. Is that looking like it could be a key to the game?
Well, definitely a key to every game is the running dimension that Josh Allen brings. What was interesting, though, Keith Butler, he's the defensive coordinator for the Steelers, and he made a point of letting reporters know that if Josh wants to be a running back, especially in the way he finishes runs, not taking that early slide thing that quarterbacks get to do and untouched, he said their defense is going to treat him like a running back and basically put those hits on him. And he said, we welcome him to play that kind of role as often as he wants to. And he said, that's an important position. And he said, there's a reason quarterbacks try to avoid a lot of that movement or running around like running backs because they get hit.
And we talked earlier with Adam this week about the situation surrounding Steelers defensive star TJ Watt with a possible injury and a contract dispute, and that sure got resolved in a pretty splashy way.
It did. And it was interesting because Sean McDermott decided to mention today to a reporter that Watt was the highest paid defensive player in the league. Now, that was pretty well publicized, but it's not often the head coach of the opposing team makes a point of making that a public note a couple of days before the game. So I think that was his way of telling his team, hey, you did a pretty good job the last time we faced TJ Watt. Let's do that again. He's got a big target on him. Top paid defensive player. All you guys who want his kind of money, go show it.
Vic, I remember last year we talked about, you talked about what a different season it was for you. And now we're coming into it again where the fans can be back in the stands. How much of an impact do you think that's really going to have as we get going on the season?
Kate, I think it's going to be a massive impact. Players always talk about, go back to Darryl Talley in the Super Bowl years, plugging into the energy, he used to call it, right? In the tunnel and waiting to come out and hearing that roar. It means something. It does. It affects the game. I mean, certainly it can have a tangible effect on the opponent's offense, especially when they're backed up against their own goal line, and that confined noise there can force false starts and other penalties. So those kinds of things are a factor that the team cares about. But a big thing is the energy. And last year, playing in these cavernous places with almost no noise at all or some artificial noise, I mean, guys felt like they were at a practice. It's hard to get fired up for a practice, easy to get fired up when the home crowd is all behind you.
Well, and the crowd is certainly ready for it. Vic Carucci, thanks so much for being here to talk Bills, and we know we're going to be seeing plenty more of you this season.
Sounds great, Kate.
And a reminder for everybody that masks are required at Highmark Stadium, including outdoors if you're unvaccinated. But we got plenty of complaints from this last preseason game that really wasn't happening. So we asked Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz today about preparations for potential enforcement Sunday.
We're going to check it out and see if people are really following it. When you have 70,000 fans, you can't have 70,000 observers. I feel comfortable about what you'll see outdoors, but we're going to be watching it indoors to ensure that people do follow the rules. And if they don't, they do subject themselves to violation of the fan code of conduct, which is removal from the game. And I don't think anybody is going to want to get removed from the game.
So the Bills do not require proof of vaccination or a negative test to get in, something that only Seattle, New Orleans, and Las Vegas do. Of course, we'll have plenty of coverage for you throughout the weekend. And that is going to do it for today's Town Hall, though. We thank you for watching. If you do have a question or a comment, here's the number to text, 716-849-2220. Mary Alice and Scott are back with Channel 2 News at 6 after this quick break. And one more thing, go Bills.